here waiting for the police to show up. Today, well, it started yesterday, the Irwin Apple Festival. I think they said this is the 46th year, and so I'm going to drive over there and see if I can find a parking lot. Y'all stay tuned and we'll see what happens today.
Hello there.
Hello. Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you. Are y'all coming?
Don't know, that's our anniversary.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I stopped here at Tractor Supply in Irwin to buy some apples from this vendor. It's a gentleman I met earlier this week, a farmer out in Gray. So I decided to buy my apples from him. I'm going to bake some fried apple pies. But I decided at the last minute to leave my purse in the car and just grab some money to pay for the apples. Locked up my car with my keys are in my purse. So I went to AutoZone behind me to see if they had something I could open the door with, and they told me to call dispatch and a city policeman would come and unlock my door for me. So I've called them and I'm here waiting for the police to show up. Okay, hi guys again. I wanted to give you an update on the situation where I locked my keys in the car yesterday. I was so frustrated that I just couldn't film anymore. But I wanted to give you the story, and Joe's not even heard the real story. I mean, the whole story,
Oh,
the
see,
real
that's it.
story,
Yeah,
but the whole story.
No, you didn't. You said you didn't do that.
Anyway, we just came home from church and had our lunch, and so I wanted to do this before I got tired and maybe take a nap. But anyway, I stopped to get some apples from a farmer and that I had met this past week.
Yeah, you took up with him somewhere. Where was that at?
That was in Irwin.
Irwin, you was in Irwin? Took
At
up
Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
Now his wife was there too.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I was going to buy apples to make fried apple pies, and I thought I'd just buy them from him instead of going to the store. And they had apples at the festival, but that festival was so crowded. I tried to video some, but you couldn't even get near a booth to look at anything if you were interested. But they had a ton of vendors and anything imaginable that you could find there, but nothing really caught my eye. And I ran into our friend Benny there.
Yeah.
I had Benny on video. I thought he was a vendor about trying to sell me something at the booth at first. And I talked to him for a little bit, but I didn't have my camera positioned right, so I had cutting his head off and stuff. But anyway, on my way home, I stopped at Tractor Supply to get the apples. And I accidentally locked my keys in the car. So there was a AutoZone behind where I was parked. So I went in there to see if they had something I could use to get inside the car to unlock it, but they didn't. But they advised for me to call dispatch, and the police officer would come and open the car. So I did, and 2 officers came. And they worked, and they worked, and they worked, trying to get the car unlocked. And they used like a rubberized wedge. It was a block, but it was a wedge. And they put it up above the window over the door frame to wedge it to create an opening for this metal rod to go in to the car. And they worked for about an hour and weren't successful in getting it to unlock. My keys were in my purse. Yeah. And when I thought purse was in the car. So this wind is blowing so much that I don't know that y'all can hear me. Anyway, I had money in my pocket, and I started out the car, and I decided I didn't need my purse. I had money in my pocket, and I shut the door and immediately realized my keys are in my purse. So anyway, the officers worked for about an hour, and both of them tried, and another man came, and he was trying to help. He wasn't successful. Another man came, and then the other one that was there before came back, and he had a big metal barrel he'd gotten somewhere. And he caught up and stood on top of that barrel so he could see down through the windshield to see better where they were hit with the door lock. But they couldn't get it. And so I called Joe, because my spare key's home. And this is about a 30-minute drive from our home. So I told him, honey, I need my knight. I need my knight in shining armor. And I told him what was going on, and I asked him to get my spare key and bring it to me at Tractor Supply. And what did he say?
I don't remember that.
He said, well, you got the police officers there working on it, and I'm sure they're going to get it open. Just give it a little bit longer and then call me back if you still need me. Well, I've been waiting for an hour. They'd been working on it for an hour. So, about that time, this other guy and his wife walk up. Oh, and he is a typical country boy. Appalachian country boy is all I can say. And he was saying, I can get it, I know I can get it unlocked, I guarantee I can get it unlocked. And his wife said, I know he can too. He got mine unlocked a few days ago. And she said, that's what he does. He works at a garage. He knows what he's doing. And the police officer looked at me and said, do you mind if he tries? And I said, what can it hurt? So,
Well, you found out.
oh, so here he climbs up on that drum and he's working and working, and he sets the alarm off on the car. And the officers did that too. And it will ring that horn for a few minutes and it stops. Well, then this country boy sets the alarm off and he's up on that drum saying, shut up, shut up, shut up, to the car.
People are going to start running. They're calling the police.
I know. Well, I couldn't take it anymore. So I talked to one of the officers and I said, I remember seeing a video recently about an officer rescuing a child in a hot car that was locked. And they took 2 toilet plungers and suctioned them on the window and then pulled the glass down and were able to unlock the door and get the child out. He looked at me and he said, I've never heard anything about that. I said, well, what can it hurt? And up here's a Dollar General right beside of the AutoZone, and I'm going to go see if they got any toilet plungers. So I go up there and they did not even have one toilet plunger. What's wrong with Dollar General? Everybody should have toilet plungers. So I'm walking out like I don't know what else to do. And I asked someone if there was a locksmith in town, and they said no, the nearest one would be in Johnson City. So as I'm walking defeated back down to my car, I hear the country boy said, I did it, I did it. And I looked up and he was just jumping up and down with his arm. I did it, I did it. And I'm expecting my window shield to be broke out or something when I get down there. But he was so excited and jumping and screaming, and his wife walked over and handed my keys. And she said he fished my keys out of my purse and was able to hit the unlock button on the key fob, and it unlocked my car. I was so relieved. I just could cry. So I had a $20 bill in my pocket and I handed it to them, and they were grateful for it, and they got in the car and left, and he was still screaming something, I don't know what, but the police officer told him as he was leaving, he said, you're getting on my last nerve. Oh my goodness. And I was about to fall apart. I'm like, I don't know how much more I can take. So I get in my car, and as I was starting it up, the man I bought some apples from walks over to me and hands me this huge head of cabbage. And he said, I just want you to have this for all the trouble you just went through. I mean, that cabbage is bigger than my head, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, I shared half of it with my neighbor yesterday. And so we'll be fixing something with cabbage in it this week. But anyway, all is well. But I was so frustrated and kicking myself all the way home that I did that I locked my keys in the car. And the policeman told me, you're not the first one that's done it. Don't feel bad. We do this all the time. And the farmer that gave me the cabbage told me the same thing. He said, you're not the only one that does stuff like this, so don't feel bad. But driving home, I could hear so much air noise through that door, the driver's door. So I looked at it, and where they used that wedge to create that opening, it bent it back some, didn't it, honey? So it doesn't seal all the way now. So maybe Joe can figure out a way to fix it, or I don't know if a body shop can fix it or what, but we got to see about that. So anyway, don't fret the small stuff, but it was tough going through it. God is good all the time. And I made it home safe. It wasn't like I had an accident and people were hurt, you know. And a vehicle is just a car. That's all it is. So we're just thankful that everything worked out okay and I got home okay.
Yeah, great.
So you got anything to say for yourself? You wouldn't come to my rescue.
I knew it would be a waste of time. I needed to get it fixed before I go.
Here's my car, and this is where they put the wedge in, across through here and one down the side. So you can see it's shut, but there's still this little gap now where it's bent. And some of the paint, I mean, it's on the inside, it's not hurting anything, but the metal rod chipped some paint off the car there and on the door frame here. And
This other one over here.
yeah, and this is where they were trying to hit the button here to unlock it, and then they were trying to do this and pull it back, and when they pull that back, that would set the alarm off. This is the passenger side door, and they did the same here, put the wedge in here where he was trying to fish the keys out of my purse. I haven't looked to see if any paint's been knocked off here, but it doesn't appear like it, but there's a piece of rubber up there. Anyway, this one isn't bent as bad as the driver's side. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We are going to have a busy day today, and Joe wanted cheese grits for his breakfast this morning.
That's what I wanted.
I offered biscuits and gravy because that's his favorite, but his men's potluck is not, so he has to start making cornbread about 4 o'clock to take for that, and they always have a big meal, so he didn't want a heavy breakfast. So all he wanted was his cheese grits and toast. So I've toasted him some sourdough bread and set out the pepper jelly I made last week, and or week before, I can't remember when I made it. But it's good pepper jelly.
It'll be good, I
We've been
guarantee
eating
that.
on it. And these are the apples I bought from the farmer in Irwin this weekend, and I'm going to peel those and cook the apples, and I'm having a fried apple pie party this week. So I wanted to go ahead and get the apples cooked. Now, fried apple pies are one of my family's favorite. I have 3 brothers, and we all loved them, and my grandmother made the pies this way, my mom made the pies this way. She would always recruit one of us to come help. So I talked to Teddy yesterday, and he said, yeah, I'll come help. I talked to Johnny Ray yesterday. He said, yeah, I'll come help. Wednesday's good. So they know if they come help, they get to go home with some fried apple pies. So I may have to go get more apples. So far there's 3 batches I have to make. One batch makes about a dozen pies. Now I called my younger brother, Bob. He lives in another town about an hour away, and he still works. So I'm waiting on a call back from him to see if he can get off work to come and help us make the pies and take some home. But anyway, I'll be peeling and slicing these apples, and then when I get ready to cook them, I'll show you how I do that. So I have a bowl full of apples and a bag full of scraps, and the horses are going to love the scraps. So I'll get to cooking these apples. Okay, I'm using my 12-inch iron skillet, and I'm melting 1 stick of butter. And once that's melted, I add the apples in. This is fresh squeezed lemon juice that I keep in this bottle. So I'm going to sprinkle some over these apples, about 2 tablespoons. Normally it would just be 1, but since these were so many apples, I'll do 2. And I'm just going to let these cook for a little while. and keep turning them over. The apples have been cooking for about 10 minutes, and I added 3/4 cup of white sugar and 3/4 cup of brown sugar. And I'm stirring this up to let it dissolve, and I'm going to let them cook a little bit longer. I also added just a couple of shakes of salt. Since this is a big batch, normally just a pinch of salt. So I've got the sugar stirred in pretty good. I'm going to let these cook down a little bit longer. Okay, I switched pots to make it easier to stir because that skillet was so full. It was hard to stir them without spilling any out. So I've got the brown sugar, a little bit of salt, and some lemon juice in here with the apples and the butter. So I'm going in here. I have 4 teaspoons of cinnamon. Normally I just do 2, but this is a large batch, so I'm not going to use all of it. I'll put it in there and taste it. Oh, that cinnamon smells good with that butter. Okay, I tasted and I added about a 1/2 cup more of brown sugar. I didn't add any more cinnamon, so I have about a 1/2 teaspoon left in this container where I put 4 teaspoons. So I'm going to take this chopper and just chop them up a little bit. Okay, so I got those apples cooked, and I went back to the store and bought 6 large Granny Smith apples. Since I'm making 4 batches of apple pies in a couple of days with my brothers, and I want to make sure I had plenty of cooked apples. But this just made half this bowl full, where the other 6 Rome apples, it was heaping full when I finished slicing them up. And this time, instead of slices, I did dices to cook them. So I'm getting ready to cook them, and you probably hear the birds outside. I got the door open, and Joe's gone to his men's potluck tonight, and I'm getting ready to go to the barn to get the horses in for the night, and then I'll come back up and cook these apples. Okay, so while the apples are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and make a batch of the pie crust. Now, we don't use biscuit dough in our family. We do not like fried apple pies with biscuit dough. We make our own pie crust, and it's just so flaky, and that's what we prefer. So you need 2 3/4 cup of sifted plain flour, or all-purpose flour. So I've just put some flour in my sifter, and I'm going to sift it in my flour bowl here. This is my Pampered Chef. It's a 1/2 cup measurement. So, and you want to take a knife and make sure it's full to the corners and just scrape off the excess. So there's 1/2. There's 1 cup. 1 1/2. 2 cups. 2 2 cup is what it says. Let me get to my 1/3 cup measurement. Okay, there's 1/3. There's 1/3 and 2/3. So there is 2 2/3 cup of sifted all-purpose flour. You need 2 teaspoons of salt. Pampered Chef measuring spoon again. So I need 2 teaspoons of salt. I've had these, I'd say, since the 80s, maybe. There's 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. And you need a 1/2 cup of Wesson oil and a 1/2 cup of whole milk. You can use the fat-free milk if you want to. Okay, I'm going just to stir my flour and salt to get it mixed in. And I have a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. The recipe says Wesson oil, but I'm just going to use what I have. It's vegetable oil and a half a cup of whole milk. And it says do not stir it. To mix it together in a cup, but do not stir it. And you're going to add it all at once to the flour mixture. So I'm going to make a well in here and pour it all in the middle. And then I'm just going to start stirring until it comes together and forms a ball. And that's as easy as it is to make the pie crust. And I'm going to wrap it in some plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator until we get ready to use it. So this pie crust will make 12 fried apple pies. And I just use my sifter, the bottom of the sifter, to make my circles to cut out. Mom always used a lid of some kind, like a Cool Whip bowl or something. Okay, I think I've got all that mixed in. Just form it into a ball. Actually, I'm going to do it in half and wrap each one individually because that's how I roll it out. I don't do the whole ball at one time. So there's one batch. I've got 3 more to go. Go ahead and mash it down some. There's the first one.